Alright, this particular story, I'm going to tell this in particular from Miss Jane Stevenson. When I was in college, she got me a book of the Jacktails on the condition that I learned one of them and told it to her. Well, I was in college at the time, so I'm finally getting around to that. And the story I chose to do is Hardhead. Now, this here story involves not just Jack, but his two older brothers, Will and Tom. Now, there was a king lived way off, and his daughter had got witched somehow or another with an enchantment. So the king put out an oration that whoever could break that enchantment could marry his daughter. Well, but the thing was, is you had to go down to old witch's house, and you had to outdo her in every trick she put out. So, Will and Tom and Jack, they all heard about it, and Will and Tom, they decided to see if they couldn't go down and break that enchantment on the king's daughter. Will was oldest, so he went first. His mama fixed him up a little cake and a little bottle of wine. Down the road he went. About dinner time, he got to a big oak tree, and he sat down to eat his dinner. And there stood an old man with long gray beard and leaning on a stick. "Hello, stranger." "Hello," says Will. "I'm hungry. Can you give me a bite to eat?" "No, I ain't hardly got enough for myself," says Will. So the old man goes on. Will eats his dinner. And he finally inquires around, finds the witch's house. And the first trick she put out was she had an old hackle. Now, a hackle's a little square piece of wood, about a foot square, with all these sharp spikes on it. And they used that in the olden times to comb a towel out of the flax. You could spin it into yarn. She laid that thing down. She said, "Now, what you got to do is you got to be able to bounce off that thing and not get hurt." So Will laid the bet down what money he had, and that old witch matched it, and she jumped up on that step, turned to somerset, bounced off of it. Will got up on that stump, and he turned to somerset. He landed on that hackle, and it stove up in him like to killed him. Well, he had to hobble on back to the house best way he could. Well, Tom decided to see if he couldn't go break that enchantment on the king's daughter. So his mama fixed him up a little cake and a little bottle of wine. And he went on down the road, and he come to that same old oak tree. And he was getting ready to eat, and there stood that old man. "Hello, stranger." "Hello, what do you want?" "I'm a little bit hungry. Can you spare me a bite to eat?" "No, I ain't got time to fool with you, and I ain't hardly got enough for myself as it is." So the old man went on. Tom, he ate. He got down there at the witch's house. She laid that old hackle out, got up on that stump, turned to somerset, and bounced off of it. Tom got up on that stump, and turned to somerset. It stove up in him, crippled him real bad. And he had to come on back to the house. So Jack's got to studying on it, see if it wasn't something he could do. He decided he'd go and try his hand at it. He asked his mother, couldn't he go? She said no, wasn't going to let him go. And he kept a-begging her and kept a-begging her. And finally she said he could go. She never fixed him nothing but a little old ice cake and a bottle of spring water and stuck that down in a poke. Jack went on down the road. He got that same oak tree. And he's a-fixing to eat, and there stood that wheezly little old man. "Why, hello, Jack." "Why, howdy, Daddy. Come on, sit down. We'll get us something to eat." Said, "I ain't got much, but you can have half of what I got." "Why, I'm much obliged to you, Jack. How you getting along, son?" "Why, about common." Jack pulls out that ice cake, but instead it's a great big spice cake. And that little bottle of spring water, why, it turned into the finest, reddest wine you ever seed. Well, they sat and ate that cake and drunk that wine, talking about one thing and another, and that old man looks at Jack and says, "Now, Jack, it's been tried right smart. People go down there and try to break that enchantment on the king's daughter. So they've everyone lost money, and some of them's been killed on that old witch's hackle." Jack said, "Well, I allowed I might try my hand at it anyhow, see if they couldn't something be I could do." He said, "Well, Jack, it may be I can help you." "I sure be much obliged, Daddy, if you did." He said, "You wait right here till I get back." Well, that old man come back in just a few minutes, some little trick of wood all folded up. He said, "Now, Jack, all you got to do is lay this on the ground and unfold it, and it'll make a big ship." And he said, "Now, this thing will sail across land just like them ships that run on the ocean." He said, "Now, Jack, if you've got faith, all you've got to do is get in that ship and say, 'Sail, ship, sail,' and it'll take you anywhere you've got a mind to go." He said, "Well, I'm much obliged to you, Daddy, for it." He said, "Now, Jack, you take in every man you see. You take in every man you come to. Maybe you need a lot of help before you can outdo that old witch." And said, "You'll need some money." And that old man handed him a little poke, and he said, "Now, that's got $1,000 in gold in it." He said, "You can just pay me back when you get ready." "Well, I'm much obliged to you, Daddy." That old man went on. Jack climbed up in that ship. "Sail, ship, sail." And that ship took off across the fields and the fences and the creeks and the mountains and hollers. I mean, just purty as you please. Well, Jack come across a feller running through the field, and he was a running into trees and stumps and a busting everything up he come to. He come to a big rock, and he just hit that thing. He just busted all to pieces. And Jack hollered out of his ship, "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Hardhead." "Hardhead, I believe you are. I'd like to have you come up in my ship." So Hardhead got in the ship, and they went on. And then they come across a feller running through the fields, and he is eating up the cows and the pigs and everything he come to. And I mean, didn't take him no time at all. I mean, he had it hide and horns and hooves and all. I mean, just like that. And Jack hollered out of the ship, "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Eatwell." He said, "Eatwell, I believe you are." He said, "I'd like to have you come up in my ship." So Eatwell climbed up in the ship, and they went on. And then they seen a man running alongside a creek, drinking that creek as fast as he is a running. "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Drinkwell." "Drinkwell, I believe you are. I'd like to have you up in my ship." So Drinkwell climbed up in the ship, and they went on. And then they come across a feller, I mean, running just as fast. I mean, looked like he was a flying. Jack just barely did see him as he run past. "Hey, Runwell." "That's my name. What can I do for you?" "I'd like to have you come up in my ship." So Runwell climbed up in my ship. They went on. And then they come across a feller standing, looking like he was listening to something away off over yonder. And Jack hollers out the ship at him, "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Harkwell." I can hear a chigger a-gritting its teeth on top of a chinky pen way over yonder on that mountain. "Now, Harkwell, you might be. I believe you are. I'd like to have you come up in my ship." So Harkwell climbed up in my ship, and they went on. And then they come across a feller standing there with his hand up over his eyes like he was looking way off over yonder somewhere. "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Seawell." "I can see a gnat following a hawk flying around way over yonder in England." "Seawell, I believe you are. I'd like to have you come up my ship." So Seawell climbed up my ship, and they went on. And then they come across a feller had a rifle leveled out like he was sighting on something way out over yonder. "Oh, stranger, what's your name?" "My name's Shootwell." "Hey, wait just a minute. I'm going to shoot that squirrel in that tree over yonder there in Scotland. I'm going to get him in his right eye." Bam! I got him. "Shootwell, you may be. I'd like to have you climb up my ship." So Shootwell climbed up my ship, and they went on. Well, directly they come to that witch's house. And the witch come out, want to know what it was they was there for. And Jack says, "Well, we're here to try again your tricks. See if we can't break that enchantment on the king's daughter." So she got that hackle out. "Now what you've got to do, I bet you ain't got nobody that can land on that thing not get hurt." And Jack goes up the ship. "Hey, Hardhead." "Well, I'm right here, sir." Now, she said, "I'll bet you $1,000 you ain't got nobody." So Jack lays down the money. And he hollers, "Hey, Hardhead." He comes out. He said, "I'm right here, sir." And that witch got up on the stump, turned the somerset, and bounced off that hackle. And Jack says to Hardhead, says, "See if you can't do that." Hardhead climbs up on that stump, takes a back somerset, lands on that thing, it breaks out every tooth on that hackle, but old Hardhead never had a scratch on him. Well, you've got me on that, but I bet you ain't got nobody that can out-eat me. Hey, eat well. I'm right here, sir. And that old witch brings out two great big fat beef cattle. And she hollers, go! And they light into eating. Why, Eat Well had that cow eat up, and a horse, and a couple of pigs, and a couple of sheep, before that witch even had half her cow eat. Well, you got me on that, and I bet you ain't got nobody that can outdrink me. Hey, drink well. Come here. They lay down that $1,000 on that, and too. They bet $1,000 every time. So that old witch gets at the head of one creek, and old Drinkwell gets at the head of another creek on the other holler. And they holler go, and Drinkwell, why, he drinks up his creek in 2 or 3 branches and commences drinking up a river before that witch takes one swaller. Well, you got me there too. I bet you ain't got nobody can outrun me. It's 700 miles from here down to that ocean sea down yonder. We'll take some eggshells, and we'll run plumb down there to the ocean and fill them eggshells up with that water now, and it'll be salt water. And we'll know whether or not you run plumb there or not. And I'll bet you another 1,000. Jack said, now I'll have to raise that up to 4,000. So the witch lays down the money and gets the eggshells, and Jack backs up to the ship. Hey, Runwell. Yes, sir, I'm right here. So the witch hands Runwell his eggshell, and they get on the line, and Jack hollers out, 1, 2, 3, go. I mean, they're gone. I mean, they're out of sight before you can even get turned around. So, well, they're running down through yonder, and, well, Jack and the others, they sat down to wait. Runwell plumb down there to the ocean sea, and he's got his eggshell full of water, and he's on his way back, and he meets that witch about halfway back. Now, she sees right off that she's beat, and she knows there ain't no use in running on, so she hollers out to him and says, hey, now listen, there ain't a bit of use in us running ourselves plumb to death. Why don't you sit down here and talk and rest a while? So they sat down and talked, while that witch pulls Runwell over and witches him to sleep and sticks a jawbone under his head. Now, she's got that thing fixed to where he'll stay asleep as long as the horse, that jawbone of that horse is up and under his head don't differ how long it is. And she takes off on down to the ocean. Well, back yonder at the ship where Jack and the rest of them's waiting, Jack gets sort of uneasy, Runwell a taking so long. And all of a sudden, Harquell jerks his head. Harquell, what is it? What do you hear? Well, I hear somebody snoring. Hey, Sewell, come quick. Sewell, see what you can see. And Sewell holds his hand up, and he's a-looking. He said, why, Runwell's fast asleep. Got a jawbone under his head. I believe that witch done witched him plumb to sleep. And Jack hollers out, hey, Shootwell, come quick. Shootwell, see you can't shoot and hit that jawbone, knock it out and under Runwell's head. So Shootwell levels out that rifle, and he takes aim, bam! It's over 300 miles. He hit that jawbone right dead center, knocked that thing out from under Runwell's head 30 foot. Runwell sets up. He's a little bit addled, don't hardly know what's a-happening. But he figures it out real quick, 'cause he sees his eggshells busted. He jumps up, he runs plumb back to the witch's hen house, gets another eggshell, runs plumb back down yonder to that ocean sea, and there's that witch stooped over, filling up her little eggshell. He runs over there and kicks her, knocks her plumb out in the middle of the ocean. He fills up his eggshell and comes on back. Jack picks up all that money. They all climb back up in the ship, and they all come back. Now, Runwell and all them, they go back to where they come from. And old Jack, he comes back to where he met that old man and gives him his $1,000 back. I never did hear whether or not Jack married the king's daughter, but anyhow, she never had no more trouble with that enchantment. And Jack, why, he's still got that ship yet. He's took me riding in it several times.